Welcome everybody to another episode of Command Combat Battle Reports. Today we have the Austrians versus the British. The British are down a little bit on this hill area here, and so what we've got here is some cavalry over on one flank with the light infantry and 24-pounder artillery, and then line infantry all across here. So they're kind of broken on two sides of these trees here. And you got the 24-pounder artillery, it's starting to get set up, and line infantry with the artillery. So you have basically, artillery with cavalry on that side. So you have basically cavalry on each side with infantry in the middle and some little bit of artillery. You also have this cavalry here, probably going to go over to this side, and they're going to try to swing around and do something over here. Well, meanwhile, what you've got over here, you've got the artillery way over here on the flank. You got some the Austrians here. Carabiniers, I guess, Jaegers, protect them, the Cuirassiers. So you got some cavalry up here behind on this flank with the artillery up on these hills. Obviously a good place to be setting up because you're overlooking the whole field here, so they're going to be able to hit the British as they're coming along. Meanwhile, you got some Jaegers here, so some skirmishers there, followed by a whole bunch of line infantry behind them that are getting pounded by the artillery, and the general's bodyguard. Perfect place for a general to be up on this hill where he can kind of see what's going on with his artillery over here on the left, and his infantry all in front of him with the skirmishers up, kind of getting position at the edge of this hill to get the British as they come down. Now you got the, you also have Hungarian Hussars, the cavalry over here getting ready to protect the flank. So it looks like it's going to be basically the Austrians trying to create a position to fire down on the British, and the British having to kind of come up to them, figure out how to crack this nut. Well, it looks like they're kind of lost in the woods there, trying to figure out what to do. They've got this artillery back here that can do some stuff, and the cavalry back there to protect it. So that's what the cavalry was running up to do. Now you got the main part of the line just marching steadily forward. They're going to probably try to march up that hill and hit a certain point all along the line. You got the skirmishers have created line of the sticks here to protect them from getting past in that particular area. Alright. So the skirmishers are doing their job of knocking off individuals as they come up the hill. By the way, I haven't announced it in a few of these. It is the Empire Total War, and it is on full graphics mode. So now we got the regular British line firing against the Austrian skirmish line. Yeah, the British are really going to outgun them, but they're being slowed down by skirmishers while the line is ready further back. Now, what are these? British cavalry seems to be just running by. It looks like they're trying to get in position. Though, they're going to try to drive in those skirmishers. Little do they know, they've got line behind them. Will the Austrians get into a square formation? No, they're just going to shoot them down where they are. And actually, historically, the Austrians didn't actually get into square. They did the square formation from their lines. And it looks like they've... Okay, so the British have pushed in the skirmishers, the Austrian skirmishers. Here we go. The cavalry is going to go in there. Oh, and the Austrians are going to do their square just a little bit too late. But they made it, and so any future cavalry is not going to do too well. Meanwhile, now you have the British cavalry coming up here, and the Austrian cavalry is trying to save the day just in time before they get to the artillery, which is working. They actually managed to stop them. The British infantry is having to get past those sticks, and that's going to be difficult for them. And they're driving back some more lines there. So the British drove back the skirmishers first, and now they're driving back sort of the first line. And now the Austrians have their backs to the wall. It's their last line. So it's actually the British are doing well in terms of their pushing forward, while the Austrians are really struggling to hold the position on the hill, which was a good position. Oh, and now actually the British are enveloping this line here. hitting them on front and flank. That's not a good position for the Austrians. Meanwhile, the Austrian cavalry have run past and have run into the British cavalry. It looks like they were going after the artillery that was back there, and the British managed to stop it with their cavalry, which is a usual thing. The Austrian artillery up here is trying to fire down on the British down there, but look at this. They got just behind that little hill there, and that's a bad place for artillery to be. They really need to be up here firing down on them. However, the Austrians are adjusting. They have all their cavalry, and they are chasing down the British. They're going to just go ahead and do it with their cavalry rather than their artillery. This really seemed like it was going to be an artillery fight, but now, because of the positioning, it's turning into cavalry. Oh, and the British are pulling back, and with their infantry, they're going to really, yeah, they're going to hit a lot of that cavalry there. But it did slow down their advance. I mean, they had the Austrians on the run, and now they're having to pull back to attack that cavalry. So that will give the Austrian infantry time to regroup. Meanwhile, their cavalry is regrouping over there on the flank, and yeah, it looks like more of their cavalry is regrouping. And yeah, it looks like they kind of went into the British back. They took care of the artillery that was back there and pretty much destroyed everything in the rear, and caused the British to have to come back and deal with them, with that cavalry. So, big sigh of relief for the Austrians, who are able to now regroup up on that hill. So meanwhile, the cavalry, the British, or the Austrians are winning the cavalry duel over here, and if they do, then they are going to have that artillery all to themselves. Well, it looks like they're actually running away to regroup, so they've lost their opportunity, because here come the British infantry. Well, maybe that's what they saw, is they saw all that infantry coming and went, not worth it to lose ourselves, because it does take a little bit of time to take out the artillery. Even though it's pretty much automatic, they have to take some time. So up here, the Austrians, yeah, the Austrians are regrouping and getting their lines formed again up on this hill, and they're going to just have to try to dare those British to come up after them again. Meanwhile, they really should be repositioning those guns. They are just not in the right position. Yeah, you can see, you just can't see anything from up here. It's turning out to be the Austrian, yeah, they're really pounding away that hill there. It's going to have to come down to the Austrian cavalry there. And they're doing pretty well with it. Although they're going to run right in front of that firing. Oh no, it's behind them. So if they can get behind them and then charge. And, well, they're not quite behind them. Well, yeah, they kind of are. The British are caught kind of scattered there. Oh, that guy was caught flying through the air. And you got some cavalry up here. The Austrians are really using their cavalry well. They're fortunately not quite so good with their artillery. They have wonderful positioning, but weren't able to set up. But they really are hitting it and running away at just the right moments. British, meanwhile, did really well with their infantry. Were really able to position them and managed to get there, and were really pushing back those lines. But that having to push back, having to pull back to take care of the cavalry may cost them the game. And so you have one infantry group chasing down two cavalry groups. That is not exactly going to work. They killed a few guys, so now they're going to rush forward. Oh, there's a couple guys that didn't get the halt order. And it looks like it's turning into just a fight, one group versus the other, but this time the British are a little bit more exhausted, while the Austrians really had their second win. Oh, and that group is gone. Let's see it from a wider angle here. Well, the British still have a few lines up there, so it's just going to be trading shots for a little while here. We'll have to see if... Yeah, okay, now you can see the Austrian cavalry is coming in from both sides. They still haven't done very much with their artillery. Their artillery is still pretty much out. But you can see on the edges, that cavalry is going to envelop the British on the different sides. So they're going to have to either turn back and deal with the cavalry again, or they're going to get hit on the flanks on both sides, the rears and the flanks. And you can see they're splitting them off, and they're going to hit the British, and they're going to hit them where they're weak. That's a good way to do it. Have the cavalry always attack units that are smaller than them, and make sure to just take them out completely. And now they're going to just sweep down the flank there and just roll up the British, and that's exactly what they're doing. Well, that'll do it. The British have pretty much been pushed away. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to watch us on Facebook and subscribe to us. Happy gaming, everyone!